Namaste, my friends. Welcome back to the Ancient Wisdom Channel. Today, we're going to be reviewing the transits of this new moon of February 20th, 2023, which just started a few hours ago. And I'll be discussing very briefly for each ascendant what I see right off the bat. This is not a close analysis, and this is not for your specific chart, but it will show tendencies, and I will give tips as to how to deal with some of these transits. Of course, if you want more information or a personal reading, you can contact me at the email address in the description area, or you can comment in the comment section, and I will respond to the best of my abilities. So here we go. The new moon this month occurs in the sign of Aquarius, with Saturn also in there with the moon and the sun, actually in very close degrees. Saturn is at 4 degrees in Dhanishta Nakshatra, and the sun and moon is in Aquarius, I believe, also in Dhanishta Nakshatra. I can't really see it from where I am right now. So let's start with the Aries ascendant. With the Aries ascendant, the long-term transits is Rahu and Ketu and your first and seventh house, respectively. And Saturn, the sun, and the moon are in your 11th house. The 11th house, Aquarius, signifies the pouring of the waters to humanity. It's a very humanitarian sign. And for all of the ascendants, actually, I recommend as a good exercise, a karmic exercise, to practice giving your best to the people around you, and especially to people who are in need and who may be at a disadvantage right now. For the Aries ascendant, you have Mars in your second house. So be careful about getting into arguments with your family members. You have Venus and Jupiter in the 12th house. Jupiter is a long-term transit, and Venus will be there for probably about 3 more weeks. So it's a good time for intimacy, and it's a good time to bring consciousness to the private areas of your life. Mercury is in your 10th house in Capricorn. And it's there with Pluto, actually. So I think career-wise, this is a good transit, but Pluto is a little bit, it can be a little bit of a challenging planet to be going through there. So take care of your elders, your bosses, and your father figures. With K2 in your 7th house, I would say also take very good care of your relationships. You might feel a sense of distance or separation, but Ketu is always wanting you to bring spirituality to the picture. So if you feel such a thing, maybe go to a temple, a church, or a spiritual place with your partner, whether it's your romantic partner or even a business partner. For Taurus ascendant, Mars is in your 1st house. You have to take very good care of your physical self. I would say be careful when driving. And you have Mercury in your 9th house in Capricorn. I I would say it might be a very special time for you to communicate spiritually, perhaps with your teachers or gurus. And Jupiter, Venus, and Neptune in your 11th house. This is actually probably very fortunate for you. You might find yourself receiving things that you've wanted for a long time. But it's a good idea, since this is a sign of Pisces and Neptune is there, to also share with others. The Sun, Moon, and Saturn are in your 10th house. And this is shedding a lot of emphasis on your work life, your career, and also your wishes in that area of your life. It's a good idea to be very giving in your work life. In general, also, and this could apply to many of the signs, since the Sun and Saturn are together, we have to be careful of family disputes, family areas where the family may not be comfortable being together. You'll have to work with that energy and try to bring some gentleness to that. With K2 in your 6th house, you will probably find that it's a time of getting rid of your debts. And Rahu in the 12th house, not sure what to say about that. Be careful to not do anything dishonest, I would say. Be careful of the temptation to cheat, because that could get you in trouble. Uranus is there also in the 12th house. For Gemini ascendant, you have Mars in the 12th house and Venus and Jupiter in the 10th house, Sun, Saturn, and Moon in the 9th house, Mercury in the 8th house, and K2 is in Libra in your 5th house. Not a really good time for speculative investments. I would say be careful of that. And Rahu in the 11th house will probably bring you some unexpected gains, but be careful about that. Make sure everything is above board and honest. And you might also want to donate part of that. Mars in the 12th house. You might want to donate to police, hospitals, firefighters, and that type of person. Maybe also to institutions, to maybe bring your energy to those areas to mitigate any possible negative results from Mars in the 12th house. Saturn, Moon, and Sun in the 9th house. There might be a bit of discomfort regarding your family and your religion, or maybe your gurus and teachers. So mind that. Again, this is the sign of Aquarius. So it might be good for you to make donations of water to your temple. Venus and Jupiter and Pisces in your 10th house exalted, with Neptune just starting to enter that sign. Venus is in its sign of exaltation, and Jupiter is in its own sign. But this also applies to everybody. Wherever your Pisces is, you might experience some kind of a great progress, great learning, expansion. And we'll get to another sign where this could really show the possibility of marriage or close union with, a spouse. For Cancer ascendant, you have Rahu in the 10th house, Ketu in the 4th house of home, Mercury in your 7th house, Saturn, Sun, and Moon in your 8th house, Jupiter and Venus in your 9th house. Jupiter and Venus in your 9th house, I would say is a very, very positive. You're going to experience probably a lot of spiritual expansion and learning from your gurus, from your teachers. Be careful to be very honest, again, because Neptune is there. And let's see, we have Saturn, Sun, and Moon in the 8th house. Try to take the wise approach with any issues regarding your family, your elders, your mother and father, and any type of financial issues there, transfer of assets or insurance even. The 8th house is the house of unearned income or inheritance. Mercury in the 7th house. I would say, protect your relationship. Pluto is there, and it might give a tendency to bring attention maybe inappropriately outside of your partnerships. Ketu in the 4th house, do a lot of meditation at home. Rahu in your 10th house, probably bringing something new to your career life. The transit of Rahu and Ketu is probably going to be going on for about 9 more months. So these issues might manifest. They might have already manifested or will manifest in the next 9 months or so. So just be aware of that. I don't think I'm going to be covering the long transits in future videos. For Leo ascendants, you have Mars in the 10th house of your career. Be careful about having arguments with your bosses. Don't get into arguments and fights. Saturn, Sun, and Moon in the 7th house. There might be some discomfort regarding your parents, between your parents and your spouse. Try to take care of that. Of course, you have to respect the parents, but you have to respect your spouse as well. And just try to create some protection there. The Saturn transit started not too long ago, and the Saturn transit takes about 2.5 years to pass. So it's going to be at least 2 more years or so, maybe more than that, transiting through the house of Aquarius, which is your 7th house sign. Mercury in your 6th house. Pay attention to money. Don't get into debt. This is not a very long transit, but Pluto is there, and that is a very long transit. I don't remember exactly how long that takes, but I'd say be very careful with debts, take care of your health and children and elder siblings also. K2 is in your third house. You might feel a little bit of distancing between you and your younger siblings, particularly. Bring spirituality into that part of your life, especially if you're finding difficulties there. If it's something like where your siblings are moving far away from you, that's just part of the energy of this transit. So bless it and give it good vibes. With Rahu in the 9th house, you're likely to take a new approach spiritually or religiously. I would say be aware that it's Rahu there, and there might be aspects of deception or dishonesty, but it could be also just a brand new type of energy that you haven't felt before. Something that's foreign to you may be occurring to you in the house of higher education, religion, spirituality. For Virgo ascendants, you have K2 in the 2nd house, Venus and Jupiter in the 7th house. If you're not married and you want to be, if you want to have union with a romantic partner, this could be a very, very good time. Venus is in its sign of exaltation there, and it's joining Jupiter in his own sign. I'm getting the feeling about Venus and Jupiter in this particular case where they're not considered to be good friends in Vedic astrology. But I have this feeling like they are coming together and going to cooperate in this case. Neptune is there, so make sure you're very, very clear with your partner, even your business partners. Don't let anything be wishy-washy or nebulous. Neptune is the nebulous type of energy, so be careful with that. That's a long transit. Rahu in the 8th house. Most likely there will be unexpected, unearned income over the next 9 months if it hasn't already happened. Saturn, Sun, and Moon in the 6th house. You might find a little bit of discomfort around elders who may be contentious with you right now. This aspect is going to pass when Sun and Moon leave that house. Right now, Saturn is there, and Saturn and Sun represent like a father and son disharmony. So try to work with those energies, be nice, and have faith that everything is working together for good. Mercury in the 5th house. This might be a good time for speculative gains, depending on the degrees. And by the way, I should say to everybody that these positions I'm talking about are sidereal positions, Vedic sidereal positions, not the tropical Western positions. And there's about a 24-degree difference between them. So don't be confused about that. Again, if you need to know your correct sun sign, moon sign, or rising sign, you can always contact me. Did I already say be careful about getting into arguments with your gurus and teachers? This might be a good time to take a long walk to a temple or a church, to spend physical energy, perhaps helping them. And with K2 in the second house, you might have felt already some feeling of distancing between you and family members. And you might also feel it for the next 9 months on and off. Again, depending on the degrees of K2 and your degrees and whether you have planets there. I would say roll with this. Don't be disturbed. Sometimes what happens is that the people in our life are not really up to our positive inner changes and our levels, our spiritual levels. And they just can't, it's kind of like plugging a 40-watt bulb into a 1,000-watt, charge. They just can't. And if you're at a high spiritual level, your family members might not be able to hang with you. So just understand that and affirm that all things are working together for good. For Libra ascendants, K2 is in your first house and Rahu is in your 7th house. It would be very important for you to focus on your spiritual pursuits right now. With K2 in your first house, meditation would be very, very good. It is in the sign of Libra, and Rahu is in your 7th house, which is the natural, sign of relationships, as is Libra. So you might feel the sensation of change and shift of energy in your relationship. The best approach, I think, is to bring positive new ideas. Don't be afraid of sharing your new ideas with your partner, and also bring spirituality into the relationship. This might be a very good time to explore new paths actually together. With Mars in your 8th house, you will probably, I would say, be careful about getting into arguments with your in-laws. With Sun, Saturn, and Moon in your 5th house, this is the house of children and speculative income. Again, Sun and Saturn is a little bit uncomfortable together there, and so you might experience some discomfort with elders in that part of your life, maybe having to do with kids. If you have kids, try to take the most respectful approach and know that this will pass, not in the not too distant future. Mercury in the 4th house, it might be a good time to bring children into your house and play games and enjoy and laugh. This is a very healing thing for your home. You might not be used to doing that because your 4th house is in the sign of Capricorn, which tends to be kind of serious and stiff. So Mercury being there wants to loosen things up. Jupiter, Venus, and Neptune in their 6th house of debts, health concerns, and possibly competitors. My intuition says try to learn from your competitors, actually. One of the best things that we can do, let's say we're playing tennis, it's always best to play with someone who is at a higher level than you. And that's how you get to be a better player. You get to learn from them. So in any area where you're in competition, you might want to learn from people who are at a higher level than you, who are more advanced in it than you are. And it's okay. It's okay to lose the game. It's only temporary, but it's a learning experience for you. So it's going to move you ahead in your life. For Scorpio ascendants, you have Mars in your 7th house. So watch out for arguments with your significant other and your partners. It might be a good idea for you to go to the gym together, to exercise together, go for walks, and get some of the physical energy out in a constructive way rather than get into fights and arguments. With Moon, Saturn, and Sun in your 4th house, you might feel a little bit of crowdedness and discomfort in your home, especially with elders passing through. Again, this is a temporary situation. Try to roll with it, try to make peace, and respect your elders, make them feel at home as much as possible. Try to diffuse any arguments between other people. Like if you saw, let's say, your father and your brother in an argument, try to diffuse that and bring positive messages to them to make it easier for them and for yourself to be in this situation at home. Mercury in your 3rd house. The 3rd house is a natural place for Mercury to be. It's a good time for communication with your siblings and your elders. So that really ties into what I just said about the 4th house. So you can bring those energies in cooperation with each other. Ketu in the 12th house. It seems to me that this is a very important time to make donations and don't hold on to too many things. It's better to donate voluntarily than for the universe to take things away from you. And do a lot of spiritual practice in your own space, in your privacy. With Rahu in the 6th house, I would say there's a good chance of defeating your competitors, but you could also, you should definitely be careful of doing it in the right way or the wrong way. You should be very honest about what you do and have faith that all things are working together for good. Sagittarius ascendant. You have Mars in the 6th house. That's a pretty powerful place for Mars to be. Most likely you will be able to defeat anybody who goes against you. They would be good for your physical health to do a lot of exercises at this time, particularly, and get some physical energy out. With Rahu in the 5th house, be careful about investments and speculative income. You might experience some great gains and something new happening in that area of your life, and perhaps also involving children. But it's possible that this will not last. So let's say And this is a kind of exaggerated example. If you win a lottery ticket, don't spend it all right away. You might have to give some of it back. Venus and Jupiter in your 4th house. It's a beautiful place for them to be. I would say that it brings a lot of harmony to the home. Again, in Vedic astrology, Venus and Jupiter are not considered to be really good friends, but they are both gurus and teachers. And so it would be a good idea to do a little bit of study at home, bring a lot of love into the life, make your home very beautiful. And with Neptune there, this is a long transit of Neptune. Make sure you take care of plumbing and water. This is going to be going for some time, so just keep an eye on that. Take care of the water, take care of your plumbing. Don't let things go out of repair. With Sun, Saturn, and Moon in the 3rd house, you might find that there's a bit of discomfort between elders and your siblings and possibly your neighbors. This is not a very long transit. So when you see that, try to make peace there. Maybe bring some food. Bring some food to everybody. Bring some food to your neighbors. Bring food to your siblings. Mercury and Pluto in your 2nd house. I would say this is a good time for communicating sweet words. Pluto is there for a long time, and Pluto is not an easy planet passing through, so there will most likely be changes in your family. But use your communication skills in the most positive way. Speak kindly. You're going to find yourself most likely speaking very cut and dry. And be careful of the feelings of others. With K2 in the 11th house, probably for the past 9 months and for the next 9 months or so, there will be the feeling of having to let go of your material desires and emphasizing more spiritual values than material values. You might also feel a distance from an elder sibling or elder cousin or your friends. And that's okay right now. You might just need to take some time for yourself to focus on your spiritual values and weigh what's really important in life. For Capricorn ascendants, Mercury is in your 1st house. You're going to be doing a lot of thinking, a lot of self-evaluation. Take very extra care of your health for the long run from really this point on. In the 2nd house, you have Moon, Sun, and Saturn. You might find that there's a bit of family discomfort at this time. Issues with your family in general this month. And with Saturn there for the next couple of years, you might feel a certain feeling of restriction. It would be good to do very kind gestures to your family members. Make sure that when they visit you, you offer water And whatever wisdom you have to give, definitely share it. Also, with Jupiter and Venus in your third house, this is more about sharing wisdom, particularly with siblings and neighbors. That's really all I can say about that. Mars in your fifth house. Take care of your kids. Be careful when driving your kids. You also have Rahu in the fourth house. So be careful with the car and children. With Ketu in your 10th house, you might experience a change in your work life. Maybe a new job, maybe changing jobs, maybe losing a job, but this is a movement. And K2 wants you to focus a lot on spiritual values. And maybe if you're a very spiritual person, you can integrate your spirituality with your work. For Aquarius ascendants, you have Saturn, Sun, and Moon in your first house. You might be experiencing some physical stuff right now. Sun and Moon will be moving off, but Saturn will be there for the next couple of years. So take very good care of your body, drink plenty of water. Venus and Jupiter in the second house with Neptune. I would say this is a very positive time for you and your family. I would say share beauty and love with your family members. Sit together from time to time and maybe read some spiritual books or talk about your spiritual beliefs. Have a nice, friendly, open dialogue and maybe learn from each other. There might be instances of lack of clarity between you and your family for some time with Neptune there. So make sure that you open the lines of communication sufficiently. With Rahu in the third house of siblings and neighbors, you might find some unusual things happening. Perhaps a new neighbor will come, somebody from another land, another culture. And this could probably bring you some new knowledge. Excuse me. Mars in the fourth house. Be careful about having fights and arguments at home. Be very careful with driving. Be careful with your car. Take care of your car. Mercury in the 12th house with Pluto. It's a good time for good communication in the bedroom. Open the lines of communication, be honest, and learn from each other. With K2 in the 9th house, seems to me a very natural place for K2 to be right now. Has been for the last 9 months and will be for the next 9 months or so. And a lot of emphasis on your spiritual path. And that's a good thing. When you feel pulled away from material things, know that the universe is steering you in the direction of inner work, inner reflection, and spiritual growth. And finally, for Pisces ascendant, by the way, all of these could be your moon sign as well. When I say ascendant, it could also be your moon could be influenced by that. And the moon is the mind. So Venus and Jupiter is in your first house. So a very good time for spiritual reflection and looking at the different sides of things. Venus is about love and beauty and romance and luxury, and it could be money. And Jupiter is very much that's a guru. A simple guru is really focused on non-material things and spiritual values. And they are both considered to be the guru energy in Vedic astrology. And I feel that there is an exchange right now. It's a very important exchange, a very positive exchange between them. So pay attention to what they might be telling you. With Rahu in the second house, I would say, okay, Rahu in the second house and Ketu in the eighth house really points to some changes in the family. Things that are outside of your normal experience. Let go of the need for, or the feeling that you need material things right now from the family. With Mars in the third house, be careful about arguments with siblings and neighbors. Channel your energy physically if you're inclined to feel uncomfortable with them. You might want to just do some exercise before you react to any kind of argument. With Moon, Saturn, and Sun in the 12th house, it's very likely that you'll feel some kind of discomfort in secluded places. The Sun being there is not a very long transit, but Saturn will be there for some time, a couple of years. And a good remedy for that will be to take a kind of a flowing approach, literally flowing. Perhaps take baths with salt, and donate water to hospitals, people who are in institutions, something like that. Maybe bringing your own wisdom and care to the general disadvantaged or isolated humanity. Mercury in the 11th house. Seems like it could be a lucky time financially right now. This is a short transit. It's not going to be going on very long. Depending on your degrees, you might find that there is some gains, particularly earned from your job, something unusual, something gained more than normal. So that's it for now. Of course, if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comment section. I'll do my best to answer. And if you want a reading or consultation, holistic consultation, you can contact me at the email address or in the comment section. Thank you again for visiting the Ancient Wisdom channel. Please like, subscribe, and share. Many blessings, lots of love, and namaste.